Welcome to chapter 46 of compelling autobiographical tales that are portrayed through the audio medium known as podcasting instead of the conventional method of a handwritten narrative and or memoir of a light-pigmented Western gentleman. Alright, how are we, guys? I'm well. I'm a lot better than a couple of weeks ago. It was quite an angry podcast. But I've got a confession for you all this week. I just want to start off, I tried to start off with it being a bit fun, a bit of a fun intro. But party's over, guys, because I did it again. And I think there's a few people who follow my Snapchat who already know what I'm talking about. I went back to the Apple Store. And I know what you're all thinking. After last time, I almost exploded last time. Not even exploded. I almost, imploded. I almost caved my own brain in from rage. And that's the thing. I'm never angry at Apple, really. I get frustrated with Apple, but I get angry at myself because I keep going back. And this time I'm I'm going to buy an Android. And then I use an Android for 2.5 seconds and I fucking hate it. Who's used an Android lately and gone, that's a good phone? I mean, obviously 50% of you. But no, anyway, I just can't use Androids. I can't type on them. It makes me feel like I have, really big thumbs because it makes me feel like, I don't know, I just can't use an Android. I've been using Apple since I started. I've always used Apple products. So I just can't convert now. So instead I pay an insane amount of money. So I had to get a new phone. I might as well just talk about it now. I'm already going to explode. Here's the thing. After the 2 weeks ago, or when did I talk about it? Yeah, 2 weeks ago on the podcast. I have an actual friend of mine who listens to this podcast. And he must have listened. And I didn't know why. He sat me down and he was like, hey man, are you okay? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you sure everything's alright? He's like, I just listened to your podcast. And I was like, oh yeah, I was a bit angry. He's like, yeah, if you need to talk to someone about it, you can just always come to me. I'm like, people think I'm going insane, which is, it's not wrong, but it's not appreciated. You know what I mean? I just feel like there was, Apple needed, they provide all this, the Genius Bar, and they provide, go head over to the thing. They provide all these other services for their customers, but the main service they should be providing for their customers is a support group for people who have just purchased an Apple item and are already feeling the regret. They can just get escorted into another room and it's just a big therapy session and there's a picture of a Samsung Galaxy on the wall and we all just look at what we could have had. And then that'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd just be and you'll sit down hi, my name's Luke and I bought an iPhone 7 and everyone's hi, Luke. That'd be actually helpful. Because I could, it beats doing this. It beats you guys having to hear this shit. I could have vented all this out into some, other iPhone, Apple addicts. There's one dude playing, Fruit Ninja in the corner, and everyone's like, oh, that's David. He's been here for 3 years. And he's and he's just cutting pine. And there's one dude just banging his head against the wall and I'm like, oh, what's that guy doing? And oh, he just bought the new iPhone and forgot about the new headphone jack. And I'm like, oh, that's fair enough. There's actually so many uses for that support group. I could have gone in there last week and been hi, my name's Luke and I had to buy a USB adapter for my Thunderbolt cable because the new MacBook doesn't come with a USB input. And everyone in the class will be like, hi, Luke, who had to go through copious amounts of shit to achieve a simple task. But that's just being an Apple customer, I guess. Anyway, that'd be great. So if you could just start providing support groups for people like me who are too stupid to stop going, but also are self-aware what they're doing, that'd be great. So here's what happened. I'm just going to get on with it. I had to buy a new iPhone, right? I have an iPhone 5 at the moment, and not even an iPhone 5S. I'm talking the old model. It doesn't even have a fingerprint. It's the medieval iPhone. I won it in a joust. I actually won my iPhone and Emily at the same time. She was the king's daughter, and I beat Sir Percival Jensen anyway, it's a long story. Point is, it's a very old phone, right? It's a very old phone. I was like, time to upgrade, because I use it every day. It's technically part of my job now, so it's time to upgrade. So I was like, and I've been putting it off for ages. You know, you just put off spending a lot of money, because I worked out that I was going to buy a new iPhone outright, not on a plan. I worked out to be cheaper over the course of a year or whatever. Anyway, so I went into the Apple store again, but this time I went in with a plan, because the last time took too long. They fucked me around. I was like, this time I'm just going to go in, I'm going to get in, and I had a plan that I was going to be in and out under 3 minutes and come out with a new iPhone in my hand. I was like, it'll be great, it'll be too easy, and obviously we're dealing with the biggest corporation in the world, so it's not going to be easy, is it? No, they have 100 staff, but it still takes bloody 20 minutes to buy a freaking, like, they literally do almost one job. It's like iPhone is their thing, and I'm trying to give them over $1,000, and anyway, okay, I'm not up to that in the story yet. So I walk in, already just absolutely hating it. The girl at the door, because there's two people standing at the door with their iPads, like, hi, how you going today? I'm like, I want to buy a new iPhone. And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, all right, we're 15 seconds in. I'm going to be out here in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And I'm like, yep, just going to buy an iPhone. She goes, no worries. Go stand there over next to the iPhone 7 table, and I'll send someone over straight away. And I'm like, well, you're free. Like, sorry, are you busy with all these other customers that you're not talking to? What do you mean? You were standing here alone for 30 seconds before I walked in. I saw you. I was watching you because I was standing outside dreading coming in this store. And then she's like, oh no, it's not my job. Oh, someone will be over there. You'll get an iPhone expert. And I'm like, I know what iPhone I'm going to buy. And she goes, no worries. We'll just stand next to the iPhone thing, tell them that. I was like, all right. So I'm like, okay, this is wasting time. This is not part of the plan. I walked in, I start standing next to the iPhone thing, and I'm watching all these dickheads stand there and play on there. They got this new thing called Apple TV, and they're all like playing these. It looks like a Nintendo Wii on Apple, and they're all playing these like free car racing games. I'm pretty sure those people just get paid to like stand there and pretend that people are coming in to play this shit. Anyway, so I'm watching all these dickheads. I'm like, oh my god. I'm watching like people just throw away money essentially, and I'm about to do the same thing, which made me even angrier. And this girl came over, and it's so weird because the lady at the start asked me my name, and she writes it down to her iPad, and someone goes, excuse me, Luke, and I'm like, turn around, like straight away, I'm like, how the fuck do you know my name? Even though I know how they know my name, I'm like, you shouldn't. I should be like, hi, my name's Luke, and then you should tell me your name, or your name's on your badge. Anyway, so the girl starts then trying to pitch me, like, and tell me about all the different iPhones, and I'm like, what kind of fool do you think I am? That you think I'm the type of guy who would come in here unresearched, not knowing what he wants? No one wants to be here. Okay, do I look like a guy? I've done this dance before. I made this mistake 2 weeks ago, not knowing what I want, okay? This time, I'm not an idiot. I did my research online. Your website's great. The fact, dude, if your customer service on your website is better than the store, your store's shit. Alright, so I was like, alright, I know exactly what I want. I researched it. She goes, no worries. I'm like, I want 128 gig iPhone 7 in matte black. And she goes, yep, sounds great. Let's get it sorted. I was like, yep, let's do it. Let's go. I'm looking at my time. I'm like, we're at 1 minute 30. It's alright, so I've got 1 minute 30. I've got to just give it, write in my PIN number, and I'm out of here. This is great. I'm like, I'm assuming, because this is the iPhone 7 table, there will be an iPhone 7 here. No. So she starts typing in my details again, like really slowly. Like, have you guys seen Zootopia? The scene where the sloth is typing in the thing. It was like that. If you haven't, I realized that was a really obscure reference. For those who have seen Zootopia, you guys are probably bloody going, that is a ripper analogy, Luke. Everyone else, which is probably most of you, are probably confused. But that's okay. Go watch Zootopia. It's an underrated flick. Anyway, she starts typing my things and so I was like, hey, wait, you said I'm going to get this sorted. And then she's calling in the third person. This is just by one thing, by the way. I'm not buying 3 items. I just want to make that clear. I'm buying one thing. And now she's calling over a third person to come and get the iPhone from me. And I was like, you're not kidding. I'm buying one phone. This isn't a 3 people transaction. This is just me and you. I mean, I shouldn't even be talking to you. Firstly. Anyway, so she starts ordering, she goes, no worries, that's just getting sorted now. Sarah's going to bring it over. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Sarah, I just want my phone. I'm looking at my clock. I'm like, 2 minutes now. I've got a minute left. And then she goes, anyway, so what do you do with yourself? Now, this time, I wasn't going to make the same mistake as last time. For those who didn't hear last time, I told them I do comedy. That is a mistake. Whenever you tell someone you do comedy, it's like, oh, it's followed by the same follow-up questions. No way. Do you get nervous? Is it scary? What happens if no one laughs? Do you do online stuff? Just the same shit. And then when they find out to do online stuff, like, oh, do I know you? Do I know you? What's your biggest video? Okay, I'm going to look you up now. And they look you up in the store. So you just never, from now on, I just don't tell people what I do. Like strangers. Especially if it's like a thing, like, especially when I know what that was just a time filling. She's just waiting for Sarah to come over, and she's just trying to pretend that their store is not incompetent. So she asked me, what do I do with myself? And I've been watching Arrow with Emily, right? The TV show Arrow. And so I just said, oh, archery. And then she's like, and I knew as soon as I said it, I was like, this isn't funny. Like, I was like, oh, this will be funny. No, it wasn't funny. Because here's the thing. I know nothing about archery, and nor did I realize that I would then have to stall for 3 minutes while trying to pull archery facts and archery anecdotes out of my asshole. And she's like, oh my god, archery, that's so cool. I had a friend who was into archery. You might know them. They used to do, I'm like, oh, lots of people do archery, you know. And then she was like, oh, so what's like the hardest part? And I was like, hitting the target. And she's like, oh, well, obviously, but like, you know, is it lots of hours that go into archery? And I was just like, fuck you, I don't do. And here's me. And I started like getting angry as I was answering her archery related questions. And I'm sitting there getting angry at her for continually asking me about archery when I'm the dickhead who said I do archery when I don't. And I don't know anything about it. So I just pulled 3 minutes of archery out of my asshole. And eventually Sarah came over. She's like, here's your iPhone 7, Luke. And I was like, why do you know my name, Sarah? I was like, how do you both know my name? I've never met you. We've never met. You just have my phone. You should come over and go, sir, here's your phone. Oh, not even. You shouldn't even be in this transaction from the start. I've forgotten the other girl's name. Anyway, so she comes over and she's like, no worries, let's just put that through. So she pulls out her FPOS machine. Now, if you're an Android user with a brain, if you wouldn't know this, but when you go to an Apple store, there's no like checkout. You just check out on the spot, like, because they literally get money from you around the store. So all the staff carry like this little FPOS machine on them. She pulls it out. It has an iPhone 6 in the back of it and an FPOS machine on the front because they always use their own products, but they never work, right? So this girl, she starts typing and she goes, no worries, just put in your PIN. Put in the PIN works, and she goes, oh, the transaction didn't work. Let's try again. I was like, oh, okay. Well, by this time, by the way, we're at like 4 minutes. We're well over my thingo, so I'm about to explode. I'm like, oh my god, I've been here for too long, and these dudes are still pretending they're having fun playing this shitty, like, I can see the pixels moving on this car racing game that these dudes are playing. I'm walking around like this old people are like, what's an Apple Watch? Is it, like, oh, so it goes on my wrist. Where do you think an Apple Watch goes? Anyway. Sorry, I need to get back to the story. I was watching all these things happen around me and just having like a massive panic attack. And I was also like, why am I spending, over $1,000 just to Snapchat in HD? Like, you guys better appreciate the quality of my Snapchats now because, oh man, it's going to improve. Anyway, so she pulls out this thing like, no worries, we'll try again. So she starts trying the transaction. I do my PIN again. Then the second time, doesn't work. She's like, oh, this machine must be faulty. And I was like, no, oh, by the way, not a good sign because she's doing this off an iPhone. And she goes, I don't know, I'll try another one. And that should have been the first sign where I was like, oh, their iPhones aren't working. Why am I paying $1,000 for one? But by this point, I was just too far in. I'm like, I'm buying this. I've made up my mind. I've come all the way here. Just give me the phone. I just want to leave. She goes, no worries. I'll just get someone else to help. So then she called in this other guy. So this is the fourth person now that's been involved in this transaction. So he starts, using his, and then I try the PIN again, and on his, it doesn't work. And then he's trying to fill time, like he's trying to make it less awkward that all their shit's not working. So he goes, oh, so what do you do with yourself, mate? And I'm too far in at this point to say anything but archery. So I'm just standing there, and I didn't answer him. He's like, excuse me, Luke? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I said, what do you do with yourself? And I was like, oh, just a bit of archery. And he was like, oh, archery, that's really cool. Whereabouts do you do it? And I was like, oh, out at an archery club. And he's like, oh, cool. He goes, what type of archery do you do? And I was like, I didn't know there was two types of archery. I didn't know So, what is there two? I was like, oh, kind of like, I'm like, not, this is what I said. I was like, oh, not like Robin Hood type archery, more like what they do in the Olympics. Because those are the only two types of archery I've seen. I was like, oh, I don't like steal from the rich and give back to the poor. I just mainly like shoot at a target. And he's like, oh, cool. And then he goes, oh, so you do what, like the Olympics? So he's like, have you ever made it to the Olympics? And at this point, I was like, man, I could just go dive straight in here and say, yeah, I'm an Olympic archer. But look, I didn't know how long I was going to have to sit there and hold this for because none of their things were working. I'm like, man, I could be here for an hour. And if I say at this point that I'm an Olympic archer, they're going to Google me and just see my Facebook page and find out I'm a full-time dickhead. That's the thing. They have my name. Also, this girl's totally going to... Oh, no, why would she look up an archer? Anyway, they have my name. And I'm like, man, okay, this is going to be weird if they find out I'm not an Olympic archer. I was like, no, I'm not an Olympic archer. I'm just an amateur archer. And he's like, oh, that's still the fact that you're doing it, that. Anyway, this dude was just way too intrigued about archery. And I was like, all right, man. It was like, hey, so is it working? And he's like, nah, I can't get this one to work. So then he calls over, I shit you not. This is like, I can't make this shit up. He calls over a fifth person. And this other dude comes over. He's like, what's the problem? So finally, someone in the workplace. By the way, they have like 180 staff members on at one time. I think. Yeah, I asked them last time. I asked the girl last time. I think it was 180 staff members on. So this time there's 5 people in the store now on one transaction. And I was like, wow. So this girl, oh no, actually the girl's still standing at the front. But again, she's still not doing shit. No one else has really walked in at this time. There's 2 people at the front. She's not doing shit. She could be helping as well. And this fifth dude comes over and is like, oh, what's the problem here? And before they could even answer, I was like, oh, your iPhone's not working. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, you sure it's not the FBOSS machine? I'm like, pretty sure it's just your product, mate, that I'm about to spend $1,000 on. And I don't know why I was mocking him. Like, oh, you stupid fucking iPhone won't work. And I'm buying a new one like a dickhead. Anyway, eventually it worked. I got out of there. I was in there for like 15 minutes probably, just pulling archery shit out of my asshole. And then eventually, like on the way out, he's like, good luck with the archery. And I was like, haha, yeah. Oh, man. Oh. It was the worst experience. I was going to say it's the worst experience I had all week. It was probably just that day. Like, it wasn't that bad. I'm just so, like, such a first world prick that, at the end of the day, I was buying an iPhone. Like, that's the most Western privileged asshole thing you can be doing. And I'm sitting here complaining about it for 17 minutes. 17 minutes I just complained about buying an iPhone, and it was my choice all along. Alright, let's talk about something else. So yeah, that's what I almost imploded again. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go back in there for like a year now, I promise. I don't need any more Apple stuff. Actually, I forgot to buy a case. That's annoying. I'm not going to go back though. I'm just going to go to JB Hi-Fi or buy one online. I'm not going back to talking to that dickhead about archery again. He'll be like, oh, buy this archery case. Anyway, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, okay, I have a new segment idea, but I don't know what to call it. Here's the thing. Like, I don't know. Maybe you guys can think of a name. I'll just do the segment today without a title, and if you guys can think of a good name for it, that'd be great. So it's the idea of the segment is that every week I'm going to I've already come up with the ideas. I'm going to bring a new idea or invention or thing to the table and tell you guys about it, and you guys can then go and do it. Like, I have a lot of time on my hands. Like, a lot. And when I'm talking a lot, I have a lot of time on my hands, which means I have a lot of time to think. And often I'll just think of like a great idea or an invention or like a business startup, or maybe something will be like a fad, or I'm like, man, why isn't that a thing? And then I write it down on my phone for some reason. I'm like, one day I'm going to do that. I'm going to invest in that or whatever. And I never get around to doing it because I'm a busy guy, I guess, with the comedy. I mean, when I'm not doing fuck all, I'm usually busy. So, I just can't be bothered pretty much just to do all these things. So I was like, man, all these great ideas are going to waste, but no more. Because every week, again, I don't know what to call the segment. If you guys can think of an idea, that'd be great. But yeah, every week I'm just going to give you one of these ideas, and royalty free. Like, you guys can have all the rights to the idea. And really, all I ask in return is that you guys have a crack at either starting up the fad that I think of, or the website or whatever. Because really, I just can't be bothered to do all these things. I absolutely cannot be bothered. Like, all these things are in my phone. I'm like, wow, that's such a good idea. Would never do it though. Just don't give a fuck enough about it. So, but at the same time, I maintain and I stand by all these ideas. Okay, maybe it's called Luke's Ideas. I don't know. But we can think of a better segment name than that. I'll think of it during the week, maybe. But also, send me suggestions. To give you guys some kind of idea of what I'm talking about, this week's one is more of like a fad or like a thing that people in society could start doing more. Next week is a bunch of meme pages that I thought of that I just can't be bothered to start. Like, I just can't be bothered being in admin of a meme page. I'm pretty much already am. I don't want to do two. And then the third one I've got written down is is my idea for a TV show. So yeah, you guys can just have all these ideas for free and do what you will with them. And I really hope one day one of these ideas gets up, or I see it happening more often. And because of you guys are listening to this podcast. So today's one is more just about, I'll start off with this one. It's so good, man. So are you guys familiar with Mexican waves? Like at the cricket or the footy, if you're in a big crowd, people throw up their hands into the air and then it goes around the stadium and it looks really cool. Mexican waves, right? Yeah, you feel, I see this thing, I can't get a gauge. I'm assuming you're all feeling me. Mexican waves at the cricket, they actually got banned, right? And this one I feel will get banned because it's probably a little more dangerous. But I don't know why it's not already a thing, but this summer at the cricket, could we start Mexican dabs? Where the whole crowd, we choose a way we're dabbing. So say if you're dabbing to the right, it's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And then usually people go, oh, and throw up their hands. But it's just like the same countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then people just chuck a dab to the right. And all of a sudden, the whole crowd is just dabbing the same way. And wouldn't that look cool? Just everyone's arms just going boom, 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 like around the stadium. Mexican dab. Genius. And I don't know, look, here's the thing, I don't know how to start this one, because I don't really go to the cricket, and no one really does it at the footy, but Mexican dabs. So if you're in like Bay 13, in the cricket this year, and just suggest to the guys, or if you're one of the guys, starting up the chants and stuff, be like, hey, maybe we'll try a Mexican dab. Because man, if you got a whole stadium dabbing the same way, what a sight that would be. What an utter trash moment that would be for society, and I would want to witness that. Mexican dabbing. See, there you go. That was the first idea, guys. Use it. Tell your friends. Spread it. Let's get Mexican dabs going. You guys want to know how I thought of that? I was, me and my friends, I don't think I thought of it. I don't know. Someone was, dabbing. I don't know. We were just doing joke dabs on a night out. Sounds like, by the way, the lamest night out. We were walking to the station, and then we were just throwing these different unique type dabbing. I don't know, like me talking about this, the more I talk about this, the more I realize how fucking lame I am on the weekends. You guys think I'm like this cool guy, he's like, oh man, he's like, got Facebook likes. And I'm like, yeah, I just usually throw out novelty dabs with my friends. Anyway, so we walk to the station, and one of my mates pulls out a crab dab, which is, if you guys are familiar with crabbing, which is when you squat kind of with your legs open, you put your arms out either side, kind of like a tree, and then you put your hands together between your index finger and your thumb, and you make your hands go like pincers. And like when people crab dance, they go sideways when they do the crab. Well, a crab dab is you're doing the pincers, and then people just think you're crab dancing, and then you just hit them with boom, and then you just dab as a crab, and it's a crab dab. So then from there, I was like, man, imagine if you had a whole bunch of people crab dabbing at the same time, and all my mates were like, whoa, that's too good. That's, you don't have, and I was like, oh my God, imagine a Mexican dab. And you know what? It brought the house down, that idea. That idea was a real rip snorter, and a great way to start this segment, which is untitled as yet. But Mexican dabbing. Oh, dude, imagine Mexican crab dabbing. A whole crowd of people squatting down with their pincers out. And like, you have to have your pincers ready to go. Even if the Mexican crab dab is at the other side of the stadium, people have just got their pincers out. Because let's be honest, there's nothing else to do with the cricket. Cricket's fucking shit. So, man, Mexican crab dabbing would... I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know why people listen to this. Sorry, today's podcast just hasn't been that funny. It was angry, and now I'm talking about crab dabbing at the cricket. Oh, man. All right. So, what's next? Oh, okay. This is good. Now excited. I'm no longer angry anymore. This is the best news I've could bring to you all. I don't know how to say this other than, guys, The Bachelor is back. Well, it's coming back on TV. This week, the next season of The Bachelor starts in Australia. And this is exciting for two reasons. Number one, it's my favourite TV show. And number two, it means this podcast has gone completely full circle now. Like this, the episode 1 of Memoirs of a White Guy was called The Bachelor. And now we're just back to the start. Like in 9 weeks now, I'm going to see a big old flapping fatty give itself an abortion off a pole. And then the whole cycle is just going to keep continuing. Now this podcast is just become a loop. A loop of shit memes. And man, I'm super excited about this season. Only because what we're going to do on the podcast with it. Actually, I had an exchange with my favourite Bachelor, Tim, before I get into that during the week. I think it was on Twitter. I got to go find it. So it's really, I was just being an idiot, I think, and he responded to me. And man, Tim's my idol. He's got the best hair. He's the hunkiest. He's the whole package, Tim. Tim Robards, you're the man. Anyway, so before my... I'm going to have to get Tim Robards on the podcast one day so I can crush on him for an hour and you guys just... Like, he doesn't know I'm crushing on him, but you guys will know. So I tweeted out... This was before the first episode of Game of Thrones. I just sent out a random tweet saying, all this talk about new Game of Thrones tomorrow when Tim Robards, the original Bachelor, is going to be on Australian Ninja Warrior. Lol, get your priorities right, you nerds. 16 favourites, which is almost viral on Twitter. And Tim Robards just went with, damn straight, Luke Kidgell. And I was like, boom, my boy Tim hitting me back on the Twitter feed. And, and that's the kind of loyalty you get as a long-time Bachelor fan. I think I've also had exchanges with him on Instagram because for a bit, I just commented on his shit because thought it was funny. Do you guys ever do that shit? Just do stuff purely to amuse yourself? Like, that's why I said I do archery in the store. I was like, this will be funny for no one other than me. I was like, I do archery, and then I regretted it immediately. But I just do that shit all the time. Like, I'll be sitting at a traffic light, and then I'll just look over at the person next to me. And when you make eye contact with, like, the person next to you, they quickly look away. But before they can look away, I'll just pull, like, a fucked up face. Or I'll just, like, stick my tongue out. I'll be like, and I'll, like, sometimes make a noise. Like, I'll just start groaning. If my window's down, I'll be like, and they understandably just freak out. And then they always do the thing where they'll either laugh or they'll just ignore you, or they'll be like, and just stare straight ahead, and you just keep looking at them, and they know you're looking at them, and then it just keeps going in the cycle, and they look back, you're like, and then you just wait till the light turns green. And I don't do this shit with other people in the car. I will just do it by myself because I think it's funny. That's pathetic. That is so pathetic, doing that for your own entertainment. Like, I don't know if I just get bored of myself, or I just think I'm hilarious, I think. That's the problem. That's why I do this comedy shit. It's just like, it's just an outlet. I don't even do it because I want to do comedy. I just need an outlet. Anyway, The Bachelor. That's what I was talking about, The Bachelor. So, yeah, but people think I like this show ironically, I think. Like, I reckon some people think I watch the show ironically. Not at all. Like, I watch it so unironically. I just genuinely enjoy the show. Like, I think at first, maybe I watched it a little bit ironically, and then I watched it properly, and I was like, this is incredible. They've put 20 girls who are mildly hot, but kind of hate each other, living together in a mansion, fighting over, like, a 9 out of 10. Like, that's the best show ever. I mean, this dude's a hunk, he's a good guy, but, like, they're never a 10, because the fact, if you're the dude and you're on The Bachelor, you're not a 10 out of 10, because you're on The Bachelor. If you're that attractive and have to go on a reality TV show to get laid, you're a 9 out of 10. You're just not a 10. It deducts 1 automatically because you're on national TV trying to get your dick wet, and that's 1 point off right there. I mean, I don't know what... And girls, they watch this shit, and like whoever the Bachelor is, like, oh my god, I love him, he's a 10, he's my future husband. He's not. You don't want him, okay? he seems like a nice guy, and good on him, absolutely good on him. But Osher's the only 10 on that show. If I was a girl and like a contestant on this season of The Bachelor, I wouldn't have my sights set on Matty J, that's for sure. I'd be, but as soon as the camera shut off, I'm complimenting Osher on his perfect hair, his chiseled smile. Okay, Osher's the only 10. What was I even talking about? Oh yeah, people think, I think I proved that I watched this show very unironically, okay? People are like, oh, he just watches it because it's a funny joke. It's not. It's a part of my life now. It's becoming like the closest form to a religion that I have. Like, I don't really believe in much, but I do believe that every Wednesday night at 7:30, you have to turn on Channel 10. And then when the episode finishes at 8:30, you have to put a rose on the ground and pray to the Lord, Mr. Tim Robards, and thanking him for such an outstanding first season that cemented the Bachelor in our reality TV show time slot at 7:30 on Channel 10. And that's what I do. It's a part of me now. It's a part of who I am. And I'll be honest, in the first couple of seasons, I was a bit ashamed of who I was. I was trying to suppress my fandom for The Bachelor. And now I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to embrace it. There's no point in hiding it. I like to be honest to you guys. I'm trying to be honest to my family. I mean, I won't open them up to about all the heartache I've experienced at the Apple Store, but I will tell them my top 5 picks for who's going to get the white rose halfway through the first episode. Like, I'm not an animal. I'll give them that knowledge. But yeah, so really what I wanted to do with these guys, and I was like, man, how can we all have fun with this together? And I was like, how can I love getting people involved with this podcast. That's what the bird watching podcast was about. So I was racking my brains. I was like, man, what are we going to, do this year for The Bachelor? And I think I nailed it. And I'm very excited to announce that this year will be the first annual Bachelor Sweepstakes competition. It's exactly like the Melbourne Cup, but instead of everyone getting drawn a horse, everyone gets drawn a random bimbo. So you guys, so what it is, it's a lucky dip competition. You guys, there's already been an application form that went out. You might have seen it on my Snapchat, Facebook group, and Instagram story. So I had 100 submissions, over 100 submissions just overnight. I put it up at 11 p.m. last night, and between 11 p.m. and 12 p.m. today, I had, this is overnight, I had over 100 submissions to be in this competition. And there was a few questions, and I've narrowed it down to 21. So I'm really sorry, because there's only 21 girls in the competition. Oh, there's 22, but I really wanted to be a part of it, because, why not? I just realized if I win, anyway, I haven't thought of the prize yet. I've got a few ideas of the prize. These are the ideas I was thinking. Number one, or my initial idea was to, the winner was going to get a 15-minute date with Lewis Spears. And then I realized I didn't check if people were 18 or not, so I couldn't really offer up a date with my, I think Lewis is 22, or 23. Yeah, I couldn't really offer up a date with Lewis, and I think there's some 15-year-old girls who may be in the competition. I don't know how old they are, is the point. So I'm not going to set them up on a date with my older friend. That's just weird. So that was going to be, my original idea was the winner gets a date with Lewis Spears, but only catch is he didn't know about it. So I was just going to do the whole thing, ask you guys not to tell him, or, no one snitch. And then at the very end, someone goes out, I kind of say, hey man, do you want to go for lunch? And then I tell the person to rock up. And then, anyway, it requires people being in Melbourne, and it was a funny idea at first. And I was like, I'm not going to do that. It's a bit weird. I have another idea, which is the winner gets to pick a date that Emily and I have to go on, and you make it the best or worst date possible with a certain budget. I give you a budget of what you have to do, and we just have to go do all the things and maybe record it for the podcast. Let me know if you guys like that idea. I think that's pretty fun. And also you get I just don't really have that much merch left. That's the thing. I've got a couple of extra larges. If you're an extra large t-shirt, then yeah, you can win that at the end, but the chances are the people won't be. I've got posters sent out. Anyway, I'll work out a prize throughout. If you guys have suggestions for the prize of this competition, let me know. I'd love to hear them. Those are my ideas so far. But we had to get it going this week. It was a bit of a short, I only thought of it a few days ago. I was like, man, I've got to get this going. They only released the Bachelor contestants yesterday. So what we're going to do is right now, I'll have to pause the podcast. I'm going to get a random generator. Actually, we'll do this at the end, so you guys don't have to listen to it all. Actually, this is the end of the podcast. So I've already picked the people who are going to be in the sweepstakes, and now everyone needs to get assigned a random bimbo from the show. Everyone gets a girl. And then look, if your girl goes out first week, it's bad luck. I'm going to put into like a random generator online all the girls' names. And let's just do the draw now, and may the best or may the luckiest person win. It's bloody exciting stuff, because you'll be watching it this year going like, say if you get the psycho bitch, right? And you realise straight away, as soon as she gets out of the car, and so I think there's a girl called, I don't know, let's go then. There's a girl called Alexis. And say Alexis turns out to be a psycho motherfucker. She's going to get out of the car and you're going to be like, I'm screwed. I don't win the prize. Oh, well, take a back seat. But man, if you get one of the favourites from the start, whoo! It's going to be a bloody exciting season. So that's why I wanted to be a part of it. I was like, man, I want to know who I get. Anyway, so I asked people a series of questions. It was just name. I said, who is the best bachelor to ever grace our screens? Either Tim, Fuckboy Blake, Sam, or Richie, or other. And everyone who pretty much wrote Osher got in, because Osher is the best part of the show. Same with what is your favourite thing about The Bachelor. A few people answered Osher Gunsberg, and I think most of those people made it because they just understand the show. Now, I also didn't want to be biased and get only Bachelor fans. A few people said in their questions that they either hate The Bachelor or that they've never seen an episode, and I put a few outliers in there. There's two people, Brody Holmes and Riley Smith. You're both in, and because you both hate The Bachelor, and that's going to be a bloody wild card at the end if you're still in, and you're like, look, mate, I still don't give a fuck about this competition, but I'm happy I'm winning something. So, let's just do it. I'm going to pause the podcast. I'll put in all the girls' names into a random generator, and you'll be able to hear if you, made the sweepstake. I'm really sorry if you didn't. It's just there was 100 people, and maybe next year I'll figure out a way where everyone can get it. Because otherwise it would just be betting, I realised. Like, if everyone got involved, I'm like, end up just becoming me running an illegal betting company, which I don't know is the best look for the podcast. But anyway, I'm going to pause the podcast and then get all the names in. Alright, so no time has passed for you guys, but that just took me like way too long. So what I did was I put, there's 22 people on the list, including me, and there's 22 Bachelorettes. So there's one list that's been randomized of all you guys who have entered, and then there's a list of Bachelorettes. I randomized them both. So number one on the list of you guys will be the first name on so on, and it's all randomized. All right, so let's do it. The first one, Mitchell Brockman. He got Charlene. Oh, dude, who calls their kid Charlene? I'm looking at this girl. She is a wedding planner. So, yep, she's going to try and marry him on the spot. And when it asked them, why do you think you're still single? She's gone, I haven't met the right person. Adelaide's Tinder isn't giving me much, to be honest. So, yep, you've got an absolute creeper, Mitch. So there you go. You've got Charlene. I don't think Mitch is going to win this one. I'll be honest. All right, next one. Let's just... this is going to take ages. So you guys can stop listening, by the way, if you're not interested in this. Number 2 is Andy Haywood. And Andy, you got Michelle. Let's have a look at Michelle, shall we? I'm going to go through every single girl and point out all her flaws because I'm an asshole. That's what this whole podcast is. All right, you've got... Oh, God. Okay. That's mean. Another person from South Australia. She's a police officer and she looks like she's been repeatedly punched in the head on the job. So, good luck with that one, Andy. Andy Haywood has Michelle. All right, the next one is Mia Stewart. And Mia Stewart, number 3, you got Akalina. She is a 29-year-old gymnastics coach, and it looks like her face has been pommeled by the pommel horse. Again, looks like she tried to fit her head through a gymnastics ring and it got stuck. Kieran O'Meara is next on our list. Kieran, you made it, and you've got Jennifer. Finally, we've got a normal looking one. Yeah, Jennifer looks alright, mate. I think you might be in with a bit of a show with Jennifer. Oh, actually, she's got a tat on her upper neck, And she said, it says, describe yourself in 5 words: funny, loyal, intelligent, thrill seeker, wanderluster, which means she's just fucking boring. So, yeah, you know what? She's probably going to go top 4. So, actually, I'm not going to make that call too early. She's not top 4 material. She's definitely top 8 material. I feel like she's the one hot one that will just go fly under the radar, and then she'll get out one week, and you'll be like, wait, I don't remember her ever being in the show. She'll be that one you've got there, mate. The next one is Alicia Heffernan, and you've got, what are we up to, number 5? Yes, number 5. You've got Leah, and Leah Leah looks alright. She's an architecture student, nothing interesting about Leah, so let's move on. Joshua Skafi, dude, this is a problem, I don't know how to pronounce your guys' names. Joshua Skafi, you've got Elise, and Elise, oh man, what's wrong with these chicks' faces? Who auditions this show? I'll be honest, Elise, not Elise, who's this one? I'm going to be honest, Josh, I don't like your chances with Elise. Let's move on. The 7th contestant, the 7th person in the competition is Joe Waldron, and he's got Tara. Let's have a gaze at Tara, hey? Tara looks basic, but that's okay. That's good for this show. Basic's good. It's one of these girls. Like, why did you apply for the show? And she said, the 11-year-old child I nanny told me to. So that's a lie. That means she was desperate. She was up late one night and she saw an ad of Osher Gunsberg going, hey, do you know someone who's desperate and single? And she's like, oh, I do. And then she applied. So no one believes that story. We're like, oh, my daughter told me to apply. Like, no, don't make out your daughter cares that much about you. You just wanted to get a route, alright? The next one is, I forgot what I was to, Megan Blaker. Megan, you've got Simone. Let's have a look at Simone. You've got a real Barbie doll looking girl. Big rack. I mean, put it away, love. Jesus Christ. She's an office administrator. Just say receptionist. Like, you don't have to lie about it. Just say, yeah, I'm practically unemployed. And she said, the question is, what would be a deal breaker for you? And she said, splitting the bill and trainers with jeans. So she's anti-Junner. So, you know what? Yeah, fair enough. Simone, yeah, so you've got Simone. Good luck there with Simone, Megan. Don't think she'll win it. But, next one's me. I'm on the random list. This is exciting. Who have I got? I've got Alex with an I. A-L-I-X. I've got a girl who can't even spell her name. Shit. Like, if I was Maddie and I was dating an Alex and they wrote down A-L-I-X, I'd be like, oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was dating an infant, and just, like, that's not how you spell it. Anyway, I'm going to move on. The next one is Dylan McFaz... Oh, my God, you have a cool name. Dylan McFadzine, and you've got Monica. And Monica's pretty good, man. She's a medical receptionist. That's actually a genuine favourite there. Why is she on The Bachelor then if she has a real job? Like, she doesn't even need Instagram followers. What's she doing? Next is Gemma Holland. And Gemma's got Laura Ann. And Laura Ann looks like she came 7th in a Kim Kardashian lookalike competition in 2004. And that's... So, go on the Bachelor website. That's actually a spot-on description. What's up next? Brody Holmes, number 12, is Laura. So, there's a Laura Ann and a Laura. And, Laura's alright. She said, how do you plan on winning over the Bachelor's heart? And then Laura said, with my terrible puns and dance moves. Well, you're not going to win over the Bachelor with that kind of confidence about your puns. Laura really needs to step it up if Brody's a chance to take this out. Up next, number 13, Sophie Scott. Thank you for submitting, Sophie. Sophie, your Bachelorette is Stacey. What a generic name. It says, I was actually thinking, Stacey seems alright. And then I read her interview and it said that she finds Amy Schumer super funny. So she's out now in my books. Number 14, Dylan Hamilton. You got Stephanie. There was nothing interesting about Stephanie. Number 15, Matt Fisher. You've got Elizabeth. Number 16, Lily Eels. You've got Kobe. Unfortunately, it's not Kobe Bryant. It's just a girl called Kobe. She doesn't even look like she can dunk, I'll be honest. Actually, she looks like Discount Georgia Love, which is pretty much Maddie J's ex-girlfriend. So I don't think she's a shot there, unless he wants to go back for seconds with like a cheap version. Um, Man, people say like you can't judge a book by its cover. I'm proving them wrong. You can. You look at someone and you say what you think. Bridget Armitage, number 17. Thanks for submitting, Bridget. You've got Natalie. Nothing interesting about Natalie. Number 18, Riley Smith. And Riley hates The Bachelor. No, he said he despises it. So I thought I'd just enter him in this competition just to ruin his week. And also, a bit of a curveball. What about if he wins it? Everyone will rage at me. It's going to be hilarious. So, Riley Smith, you've got Alora. And she actually seems like a catch, although, like, as a first look, she seems like a catch. But just from reading her responses, she seems like a full nut job at the same time. It said, do you believe in love at first sight? And she said, yes, I believe that energies are so strong that souls can feed off them, and you know right away. So yes, she's a psycho. So you've got Alora, who's a psycho, and also anyone who names their kid Alora is a whack job anyway. Number 19, we have Isabel Bora, and your Bachelorette is Lisa. She's a blonde model, actually seems like a genuine contender. So Isabel's in with a shot at winning this. Again, still don't know what the prize is, so I've no idea what you're in for a shot winning yet, but please send me ideas. Number 20 is Will Burchell, and Will's got Belinda. Just looking at her... Ooh... She's 34. I'm sorry, but Belinda looks like she could be Osh's mum. Belinda's the mum of the group. I'm sorry. Wait till you see the show. You'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Poor Belinda. I don't know why she's on this show. Number 21, we have Caitlin Facundo. And Caitlin, you've got Florence. She actually seems legit as well. And finally, number 22, the final person who's going to be in the Bachelor Sweep this year, the first annual Memoirs of a White Guy Bachelor Sweep, is Sam Lawson. And Sam, you've got Cyan, I don't know how to pronounce names. So, look, she seems nice, but she has a weird name that bogan idiots like me can't pronounce. Or just idiots, actually. So, yep, that's it. Good luck, everyone. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I'm going to win with my Alex. You know, she can't even spell her name right, but hopefully she's an absolute winner. I'm pretty keen. So let's do it. So this week, in this week's episode, if your name got called out, then get watching, because 2 people go out this week. I think the first week, I don't know how it works, but I think a person goes out in the first week. So someone will be already out by next week. And now from every week on, we'll have updates of who's still in, who's out. And once it gets to the final group, we'll be calling you, seeing what your chances are like, because we'll have been following the season. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you so much to everyone else who submitted. There was literally 100 of you, so like over 80 people missed out. Next year I'll try and work out a better system. It was just last minute this year, but yeah, still, it doesn't mean you can't follow it. Obviously, we're all going to be watching the show anyway, because it's... Anyway, so that's the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for enduring my rants this week, guys. Also, quick update on the... 2 quick updates. Quick update on the Fat Bird t-shirt. If you've pre-ordered it, they're coming. Like, the order's been shipped off. I'm waiting to receive them so then I can send them out. So my guess would be sometime next week. Hopefully you'll receive your Fat Bird t-shirt. I was supposed to work out how much money we raised. I'll do it next week. Okay, I'm sorry, I just didn't work it out. I'll do it now, actually, after I finish recording this. How much money we raised for Tisha's Brain Cancer Fund. I think it's quite a lot, which is really cool. It's a really cool thing what we've done. I'm sure the family will really appreciate it. You guys should be very proud of yourselves. And the final update is, of course, the Peter Pigeon interview. And everyone's been asking me, Luke, when are you going to release it? I will release it when the time is right. And I'm just checking the time. And the time is 8:11 p.m. The time is not right. Trash! Alright, see you next week, guys.